Fit like Abdi, Danny Boy here, and welcome back to another Transport Fever on the very undetailed USA map. Now, as the title suggests, this is something completely the same, but at the same time, different. As you can see, the map is now green. Here is Houston. There are no oil refineries or anything. I'm going to explain exactly what is going on here. Now, I basically started again. 3 days ago, I'd sort of had enough. There were many reasons. I will explain them all in due course. One of the things was the map terrain, the sort of arid, desert-y terrain you get when you select the USA terrain. I really just got sick, fed up. I just got bored looking at it. I hated it, and I went back to the grass. Now, the grass is not much better. It is extremely boring in some parts, but I think when you place fields on a grass map, it looks so much better. It looks really out of place placing like random fields out in like a desert sort of area. Now, I understand that the USA does have quite a lot of arid, rocky mountains, desert land, also a lot of greenery, so it's hard to get the right fit. So I just bit the bullet and went with the grass. I also found this map as well. Another YouTuber, Captain... oh crap, forgot his name. I had it written down as well. Anyway, he had taken the original USA map that I was using and added more cities. This man is a legend in my eyes. As you can see here, he added Mobile, Alabama. Now, I added Mobile as a sort of random town where I placed ploppable buildings and set their capacities to high, meaning that people would go there. This guy actually added it onto the map, along with some other cities, which I will show you right now. Now, everything else is still here: Washington, Philadelphia. But as you head up here, we've got Toronto and Montreal, which I was also going to add. There are no other Canadian cities, which are a shame. I might add a few more along this left side here. He also added Bangor up at the top here, which was pretty cool. If we head down here to the mountains, there we have Aspen at the top here, which I thought was a pretty cool addition, because there is a lot of space where there was nothing in the middle of here. Now we have Aspen. You can see in the background we have Guadalajara and Cabo San Lucas. It's a pity there's not anything down here at this right hand side, but we've got some, I do believe they're Mexican towns, are they? I'm sure they are, but it's pretty awesome. So this map just looked so much better. There were others, which was exactly the same map with even more cities added, but unfortunately they did not come with a no industry version. Now, if you look around here, you'll see lines. Now, all the passenger lines, commuter routes, intercities, everything is the same. Almost every city is connected apart from the ones in Canada and the ones down here in Mexico. Now, I aim to get every route the same as what it was, have all the previous industries running. As you can see down here, we're in May of 1888. I actually started the restart from 1880, giving me sort of enough time to sort of get everything else till about 1895, where I sort of finished the last episode. I think it was in 1894, but I gave myself till 1895. So I've got another 5, 6, 7 years to get all the industries that were previously in, add some more. I won't build any lines to the new industries that I add. I will just get the current ones sort of up and running. So we'll have oil fields down here and across here in Albuquerque. We'll have some oil refineries, some farms and stuff up here. We'll also have some farms over here at the right hand side. We'll have our Jack Daniels whiskey distillery in Memphis, our logging here in Atlanta. We'll also get some logging up at the northwest, up beside Oregon. So that is all good to go. Now, another reason for the restart was, if you remember the video, obliterating Las Vegas. This time I did not. I kept Las Vegas here. I made this sort of strip here. There are some ploppable assets, hotels from Vegas and stuff that we're going to put on the strip, etc, etc. So that should be good now. I was hoping that it would build up here, but I had to move the train station down here. So Las Vegas is back on the go, thank God. Because that really annoyed me, and I knew instantly as soon as I deleted the last building that I had screwed up. Someone actually left a comment saying that I'd been playing this game for that long that I should know by now that completely deleting a city means it will not grow back. And they were absolutely right. I instantly regretted it as soon as it was done. My bad. The problem there was I'd watched a video from another YouTube that was titled, "Can you regrow a city?" And in the video I watched there, you absolutely could. What I was not aware of as at the time was, just say I deleted Las Vegas. Now this is the Las Vegas badge here. This is basically where the Las Vegas lettering is here. It's basically where the center of the city is, where it was placed on the map, bang center at the middle when it was first placed. Now just say Los Angeles was right next to it here on the left hand side, say about here. Now once these cities become big enough, they will merge. I've seen it before in other games that I've played, and you are absolutely right. If I was to delete Las Vegas and maybe put the train station for Los Angeles over here, Los Angeles will grow over and build in this area, which makes it look as though the city on this side is regrowing, although it is not. If you click on the buildings here, they will be assigned to Los Angeles. If you click on a person at a train station who is going home, and their home might be over here on the Las Vegas side, but it will still say that they wish to go to Los Angeles. So that was one of the things that I totally screwed up on, and by the time I'd realised I'd screwed up, even though it was instantly, by the time I decided to do anything about it, I'd already made several other episodes, blah blah blah. That was it, game over. So I was not happy with that. Another thing I wanted to do was sort of make at least the passenger routes so far more efficient. Now I'll go through every passenger route. There is one new intercity route that was not in the game before. Now if we start up at Bangor, because Bangor has been added, and the Atlantic Coast Intercity starts here. Vehicles. Right, there are 11 trains on here. As you'll see, I'll go through all the trains and all the routes. These trains are spaced out perfectly, and they are in every single intercity line. I also have the correct amount of buses or horse carriages in each city to deal with the amount of passengers that are waiting at bus stations to go to a train station. It's sort of a micromanagement thing. If you sort of lose track of it at any point, you'll be screwed. Eventually, especially in later game when there's a lot of traffic, you'll notice there are like 47 passengers waiting for a bus. You'll add like 4 more buses onto the route, but it won't do anything because they'll just get stuck in traffic. Everything will get backlogged, and it just becomes a domino effect where everything starts to get affected. Now you need good bus routes in order for people to use trains, airports, shipyards, all that sort of nonsense. So these trains are spaced out perfectly. One of the great things about the 4 times slower mod, it's pretty awesome. It means that things like this are possible. So basically I launched each train from here, from this little depot. As you can see, there are no large depots or freight yards yet. So I launched them from here. One train goes in here. As soon as it hits a certain point at Boston, basically as soon as it hits this, where are they? here. As soon as they hit that set signals there, I released the next train and managed to get it perfect so that the last train is basically coming out of the station here as the first train is coming on its reverse leg and leaving Boston. Now, this might not always be the case. Those of you who have sunk many hours into Transport Fever will know that this perfect timing won't last forever. Weird things happen that is in this game that we can't explain. Things like trains jumping on the wrong side of the track, trains suddenly turn in the opposite direction, and then running into other trains, it becomes a disaster. And the classic, just say this train is running here, and then we go to look at it 15 minutes later and it's somehow all the way over here in Minneapolis, and it's like, well, how the hell did you manage to get there? And there are points where there are no tracks actually joining onto this line, so it's a physically impossible, but yet the train has managed to do that. So these problems happen in this game. It's just something we deal with when we're playing the game. I mean, I love this game. It does have its faults, like everything. The devs and that, we were getting the thank you performance patch, which was great of them. The fact that they were still working on it up until this point is amazing. So let's have a look at the trains. So we've got our Atlantic Coast Intercity, first one on the map. They are running the Mogul with the Clearstory or Clerestory, however you like to pronounce it, wagons. They have 5 of each. There are 11. It's running perfect. It's starting to get more and more every single time. So that is the first load of trains. Now if we go on to the next route, we'll just select trains only. So we've got the Buffalo Jack Daniels line. Now this was formerly the Buffalo Tennessee line, but I changed it because it's going to Memphis and we have the Jack Daniels factory in there. So these are currently running 440s, late 440s, with Clerestory wagons. Now the lines as well that were previous there, every line is in, but everyone is so much more efficient. Hills and things have been removed, unnecessary dips into the ground, unnecessary changes in height, etc. I've sort of tried my best to get away with. There are bits that I totally screwed up on, and even though I've tried to resolve it, it doesn't work for some reason. I'll show you one of the prime examples later, but all the lines are so much more efficient. So that's what we're running on the Buffalo Jack Daniels Intercity. Appropriately named, I think, because it does go to the whiskey factory. We've then got the Central Star Intercity, which was one of the last intercities that I did. Again, ooh, this one's in a tunnel. Select different. Central Star Intercity here. Again, goes to the same places. Go away, please. Go away, please. It starts in Buffalo. No, it starts in Chicago, goes through St. Louis, Kansas, Denver, and then it goes to Salt Lake City. Again, we're running the Mogul. Is it a Mogul? Yes, it is, with Clearstory, Clerestory wagons, and it is running perfectly. Also, it was one of the last intercities that I did, and so it's not picked up that much yet. Now it's weird because things like the West Coast, the Atlantic Coast Intercity has 11 trains, whereas this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Excuse me. Ow. I'm fighting a bit of a cold at the moment. This one has 12. Now, even though there are less stops, because there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destinations on this track, 10 if you include the reverse side of it, there are 12 trains, and it's because just because distances in between some of these cities are extremely long. So from here to Denver is very long. From Denver to Salt Lake, also very long. So some trains, even though they've got hardly any destinations on their intercity route, have a lot of trains. And it works. It works perfectly. So there is the Central Star intercity. We've got our express trains. If we pick up this express train here, the Dallas to Oklahoma express train, we are running the 440 Express. Now it is old, very old, but it is good. It will do 50 miles per hour, and it's great for these short back and forth runs. Now as you can see, I've placed a few freight stations. I am going to add the industries in. That'll be in part B. This is part A, as the title description implies. Now on to the next intercity, the Great Northern Intercity. I do believe we're running the late 440 with Grand Trunk coaches. Now I am aware that Grand Trunk coaches are actually Canadian. I made that discovery about 2 weeks ago, but I like them. I like the green, and because this train is up in the north, it's just a good fit. I like it. Has this one got any passengers? Yes, 13. Now this is what I'm speaking about, the efficiency. In the last playthrough, I had lots of intercity trains. One would have like 15, the next one would have 0, the next one would have 8, the next one would have 0. But in this, every train has at least over 10. So that's just with the efficiency of the buses, etc, etc. And the efficiency of the trains. Right now, the trains on intercity lines and their express lines are like the Japanese railway. There's always one when you need one. It's never more than 3 seconds late to any destination, which is fine. And in about a week's time, all these trains will be running like British Rail, for example. You'll get on a train at Edinburgh, think, ooh, yeah, about 8 hours to get to London, and then a week later you'll get in London. So just the sort of weird crap that happens on British railways. My favourite is being 100 feet away from the platform, and then the lady comes over, the tannoy or the man, and says, because of a signalling fault coming into the station, we now have to go back 20 miles so the train can change on another track to get into another platform. It's like, what? Really? The platform is right there. And then it goes back, and then it's like, well, we have to wait 45 minutes because there are 2 other trains using that line, and we have to wait for them to clear their signals first before we can move on to the next track. And it's like, really? I should have been here like an hour ago. I would have got off the train and walked to the goddamn platform. If you didn't get slapped, I think it's a £200 fine. I think it might be actually more depending on which station you are for walking on the tracks. But no, it's just, seriously, it's so stupid. So right now, these trains are running perfectly. In about a week, they'll be a total disaster. Especially with lines crossing each other. I have noticed it in some of the lines that are crossing each other. Most lines are single at the moment. As I said, there are no depots. Not the one depot to rule them all. Or several other large depots. I've just added small depots just to get the trains rolling. So there is the Great Northern Intercity. We've got our other Miami Mobile Express. Now the Mountain Pass Intercity is brand new. This is the one that I was going to do next. And it was actually going to be like a Canadian cross-border intercity, but it's actually turned out as the Mountain Pass Intercity, which starts here in Minneapolis. Now, like I was saying with track efficiency, this is hideous, and I have tried to fix it many times, but for some reason, it's just so weird. It sort of gives me a bridge. I don't want a bridge. I want it to stay flat. I've tried deleting this and filling in this land. Excuse me, deleting the track way back and then trying to get it, and I just gave up. I just gave it this stupid looking sort of dip here. but it's good. It actually works okay because it gives the trains a run up from each side to tackle this sort of climb. Not so much if they're leaving the station at Minneapolis, but in many other respects, it's okay on the way back. So our mountain pass into our city. You're a Great Northern. Let's pick a vehicle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vehicles on here, which is strange because it is an extremely long route. But how it works out, they are slower going this way. So it goes from Minneapolis to Omaha, through Denver. It then cuts across here, where it goes up to Aspen. Yes, I am aware it is mostly underground at this point. And then it goes down here to Albuquerque. Now, this is a long route, but for some reason, I only managed to launch 7 trains before the first train was about here, just outside Omaha. See, you've got one leaving here, going to Omaha. It is a Mogul with Grand Trunk coaches. I'll try to mix it up a bit. There's not much in the way of variety at this point. Soon we will get the Pennsylvania Clerestory carriages. I think we already had them. I think they arrive very soon, so I'll be able to use them, especially for lines coming out of Pennsylvania or around Pennsylvania. We'll get the Pennsylvania Railroad up and running. So here is that. As you can see, this one is here, and its next one is there. Now again, this line's just started, so I am hoping it picks up better. I've got the buses running good, so we should be fine. We've also got our other expresses here, all the ones we had: New York City, Buffalo, New Orleans, Dallas, Philadelphia, Buffalo, the Pittsburgh to Philadelphia Express. Now Reno to Salt Lake City is a new one, and I will show you that in a second. So we've got Reno to Salt Lake to Spokane. Let's pull up a train, because that'll bring us into the general area. Now these trains do share a track coming into Salt Lake City. Previously I had the Sin City Intercity leaving Los Angeles, going through Vegas, Reno, and into Salt Lake. That has now changed to go from Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Reno, and then to Spokane. So that is the only another one that's changed. It's not a big change because we already originally had the express routes coming round anyway. So that is that. Each express train only has two trains on it. It's not ideal. 7 minutes is a long time in transport fever time, but they seem to be okay. People seem to use it fine. Now the Sin City Intercity, again, an extremely long distance to go from Los Angeles to Spokane, but it only needed 5 trains. And by the time I launched the last one, the first one was already about here on its way back to Spokane. Now that was an issue with signalling, because there are express trains on this route, only combated by adding more signals at shorter stops that sort of keep the trains flowing through this section until they split up here. Oh my god, my voice is starting to go. So much talking, too much explaining to do. Should have just left it. So there is our Sin City Intercity. Again, it's running a Mogul with Clerestory wagons. It's also doing well, I think. Yes, 26 of 80. I have seen some of these trains, intercity trains, max out already. We'll head over to the Texas Intercity. It has changed slightly also. So it's a 440 running, late 440 running Clerestory wagons. It now just goes from Houston to Dallas to San Antonio, and then it reverses itself and comes back. Now the reason for that was Houston and the Western Frontier Intercity line I had in the previous game. It left New Orleans, came through Houston, it then came along here, crossed the river, went along this mountain and headed up to Albuquerque. Now that's an extremely long distance that where no one would use. You would also have passengers from Phoenix to Albuquerque, from Houston to New Orleans, but nothing in between Houston and Albuquerque. It was just too long. You maybe got 1 or 2 passengers here or there. So we filled that gap by having the Western Frontier Intercity go through San Antonio. So there is the Texas Intercity. We'll close that. There are about 106 trains total on the line at the moment. We'll pick a West Coast Intercity train. It is running the Mogul with Cloresteroids. It is exactly the same. Where are we? Yes, it's exactly the same. It goes from Los Angeles to San Francisco to Portland and then up to Seattle. Now there are only 4 stops, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trains. That's how much it took for the first train to sort of hit San Francisco and have the last train leave Los Angeles. Even though there's only 4 stops, it is an extremely long distance going up the whole West Coast, so that's worked out perfectly too. Again, I think it's just a Mogul with Cloresteroid. I sort of went for, like, the Grand Trunk wagons are all sort of up in the north. Everything down here is sort of Moguls with Cloresteroid, and the Mogul is actually slightly faster. It's slightly more pulling power than the 440. So I've basically put this train on routes where there are a lot of hills or inclines, because it sort of deals with it slightly better. So there is the West Coast Intercity. Now we are on our Western Frontier, where there are, I would say, twice as many trains as there was before. I think I only put 10 on the last time. I think now there's like 18 or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. So 16 of them on there. It is exactly the same, except with the addition of Mobile. We now have Mobile, Alabama, which clears quite a large gap between New Orleans and Atlanta. It's so much better, having this in here. So those are the trains, the intercity trains. If we take a look in Mobile and we go and find a road vehicle, yes, we are still running this very old sort of piece of crap wagon. Now I've done this in cities that are sort of smaller. If we head up to like Atlanta, Washington, Philadelphia, New York, they are running these. They're sort of more upmarket stagecoach. Because that seems like a thing that would happen. New York has actually exploded. Now, when I first started, I did bring everything back to a single cross-section junction. And then hope that the towns would rebuild around it there to give me more space and so that I could flatten terrain around here. Especially in places over the west coast where it's extremely hilly. But it seemed that flattening things out was a bit of a disaster. It doesn't really work. You'll also see that we've got different stations here. This is obviously Austrian or German. But I wanted New York to have a sort of like the Grand Central Terminus, a sort of nice building in that. And other lines where there are trams, like Boston. Boston has a tram, so it has this. Now, this is Dusseldorf, is it? I can't remember. Go into stations, please. This is, whoa. Dresden station. So, it looks pretty cool. Also accommodates trams. You've got this little through section here where trams can go through. It's pretty awesome. And plus it added a bit more variety. There are more stations coming on the go. Later I will delete areas of city to get sort of better stations in. I am slightly concerned that Bangor is sort of started to grow out here into the ether. Can I even build out here? Yes, I can. Well, that's creepy. Okay, this house is basically floating in midair. Okay, cool. So there you have it. There's the lines and things. I've explained the reasons for changing it. Now if you place fields in the green, it looks so much better. Now we have to go to the time. Now I started in 1880. I launched each train on each intercity individually. It took me 8 years of game time to get every train set out perfectly. Because I started again and brought everything down to a cross section, also gave me time to keep an eye on commuter routes in cities, and it also made me able to keep an eye on things like this. This here is a real problem. It's one of my pet hates with this game. Now I can upgrade this to medium street. But it's not medium street, it's still small street, just changed to look like medium street. Now if I go over here and say a large street, which is extremely big, 7 buildings will be removed. Now that is not an issue because I'm playing with the no costs, but if you were playing this in the actual game, upgrading streets cost are very expensive, and they are crippling if you are playing with the money turned on. So it's given me a chance to sort of upgrade. I'm not really bothered about upgrading them to large streets. I just don't like these sort of dirt streets. Now as you can see, this dirt street here, construction is not possible, so it has to go. Fortunately it didn't affect anything. I can maybe pull this across here. Buildings will be removed, so be it. Now it sort of looks better, and as you can see, this medium street is larger than this. Now I have done entire playthroughs with money turned on, where a street like this becomes almost impossible to upgrade. It's like you go to upgrade this street and it wants to delete everything in this left hand side and everything over here just to upgrade one street, and it's annoying. So starting from scratch, like especially if you catch roads like this, go to that. Now this will upgrade to an actual medium street because there is nothing built at either side of it. This one will too, so it's strange. I hate it with a passion, furiously. It's so annoying. If the game just sort of built in medium street as a standard. Now I'm not trying to control the cities or their growth or which direction they want to grow out to. They can grow any which way they like. But if I see crap like that, no, not like, yes, like that, and I can't upgrade it, it will be demolished without a question of a doubt. So also let's be keep an eye on that. And because I started, like, Philadelphia started just a cross section that was linked up. So the bus route here, if we select it, go to buses, Philadelphia, right, there we go. So when I first started the game, the bus goes in here, it goes round here, and then along. That is fine. I am just going to leave it like that. I am going to leave the original commuter routes to just do this small central area. I then will build other routes. So CC2 will come over here and pick people up from there. CC3 will maybe pick people up from the back there. Maybe even CC4 at this side, and city commuter route 5 doing everything for that side. It does give you a lot of vehicles and a lot of congestion, but it's easier to manage than having one bus route that goes all the way around the city. It's a lot harder to sort of micromanage, whereas if you've just got a section in this right hand side with 5 buses and it needs more, now you only have 6, and it's fine. You can keep an eye on 6 instead of trying to keep an eye on 47 buses, and you'll still find that Philadelphia Road Stop 6 has 57 people waiting at it, and everyone else is 0. It's because this section here is bogged down with traffic, and it takes an age for it to get from this side to that side. So that's another reason why I started again. But everything is looking good. So I started at 1880, give myself 15 years till 1895 to get everything in. As you can see here, there are a lot of missing connections. I deleted every highway. Now over here I actually started to rebuild the highway network, and there is going to be a proper network of highways leading to the cities. Obviously things like this look a bit new age for 1888, but it's basically a preemptive strike, because at some point I will have to build decent highways. Then we'll have like truck stops and petrol stations, and there are lots of mods and assets that you can place at the side of highways to sort of make them look more authentic. So there it is. There you have it. So the game is currently paused just now. I will rebuild the industries, like at Albuquerque. We'll have coal mines, construction materials plants, oil down here, oil refineries, chemicals, fields, steel mills, goods factories, logging, all that sort of stuff. I have the new industries mod installed. We do now have this, the fertilizer factory. Now it was supposed to become available in the, I think it was the 1890s. No, wait, let's check this. Yes, it was supposed to become available in the 1890s, I think. I think that's what it said in the description, but my one did not, for some reason, in my game. So I found a mod that basically gives you the fertilizer industry, but calls it something else, biodegradable mulch or whatever they used back, because apparently fertilizer was a thing. It wasn't like the advanced sort of chemical that they use for spraying fields and things today, but there was a crude, rudimentary version of fertilizer. That's basically what that factory is. So we can get that going to our grain farms, etc, etc. So there you have it. There is there's exactly the same map, but sort of newish. Everything's going to be the same, but slightly different, if that makes sense. Please don't be mad or hate me for changing it. I really just got so fed up looking at the sort of terrain. Seemed like a good idea to start with, and then I sort of backtracked on it. Also, a lot of the lines, the efficiency of them were quite terrible, if I'm perfectly honest. I mean, Dallas to Amarillo, which is no longer going to be a thing. The grain trains and oil trains running from that small section to that small country freight station was a disaster. There were about 8 or 9 trains stuck in one section of line from here to the middle of here. And it was just terrible. Things like mail and stuff were overtaking priority of other sort of lines that should have been carrying food or milk or cattle. Just, it was nonsense. I have not yet thought of a way to combat mail except for to do one thing. Like the intercities, I'm going to build an intercity mail train. It's basically going to be dedicated to mail. It'll pick up mail and it'll go along and drop off mail on its intercity route at the freight station at the city. It's the only way I can see a combat mail. The only other way is not to place any post offices or anything at all. But I think that's a shame, because I like the mail and the new industries. I love the fact that we've got new goods and things to ship around, and it would be a shame not to use it. So that's how I'm going to sort of combat that. But we'll get into that when I do the industry section in part B, where I'm basically going to rebuild everything. It might not be detailed, but everything will be in its exact spot, roughly, kinda. There will be new industries, and I'll go over that in part B. Now, I'm not going to connect Cabo or Guadalajara or the Canadian towns until I come to the next actual episode. We'll get them sorted out. I would love a ship route to run from Detroit to Toronto, or Toronto to Buffalo, something like that, and then maybe add trains later. I am thinking about adding some more Canadian cities over here, just to sort of fill in these gaps, and because I've got a lot of Canadian trains and things to use as well, it'd be nice to sort of get them all in. And as you can see, the passenger routes are in. Sorry, this cold is starting to get the better of me. The passenger routes will go in. I'm just going to have like a ferry go from Minneapolis to St. Louis to Kansas, and not have it run down here. They can be serviced by the train. There will obviously be trains heading around here, but I would like to get the ships in. They are pretty cool. As far as goods are concerned, I'm not sure how it's going to work. It doesn't really work on a map like this where it can only run along the coast, because trains run along the coast as well. It would only really work if you had a mass amount of water splitting one side of the map to the other and you needed to ship goods across, especially in the early years when you don't have access to freight planes, etc. So I'm not sure. I'll have to deal with that later, have a little think about it. If you've got any suggestions, leave a comment. That would be nice. I might still have the oil running and stuff, but we shall just see. So there it is. There is the plan for the USA map. I do apologise for the interruption in the actual the USA playthrough. I think we were on episode 40, but episode 41 will basically pick off from where we left off. We were connecting coal to the Houston power plant. That will also be a thing, and then we'll go on to something new, some newer industries, and get these Canadian and Mexican cities connected as well, because I want them to grow as well. Every city is connected to something, so it will start to grow. And every single one of these cities I deleted back, as I said before, to just a crossroad, a 4 section with buildings at each side. And look how much it's grown. In 8 years they've actually grown quite big. Now I do have to go around the map and get rid of these crap goddamn stupid dirt tracks that are a pain in the ass, but I will do that. Obviously I can't actually remember what year these change to concrete. Now I once had a playthrough where a section like this, a cross section, this would not upgrade. This just was dirt forever, and I could not upgrade it without deleting everything around it to get this road and stuff back in. It was a nightmare. So we're going to deal with them sort of as quick as possible. But that is it. Sorry it took so long to explain. I just wanted to get everything out there. The reasons for me changing the map, the inefficiency, the fact that I was getting sick looking at the terrain. Things just weren't going as I had planned. So, and I was actually coming to a point where I was getting stuck. I was looking at maps of the USA to see where industries are in real life, and then realising that, oh my god, well I can't place, for example, something on top of this mountain because I can't get a train to it, and blah 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 blah. So it's looking much better. I am a lot happier with it so far. Once the fields and industries and things are in, I think it's going to look much better. And that will come in part B. So as always, leave a comment with your suggestions. Is this a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Again, I will apologise to MD that's upset for me changing it. I had to change it, or I was going to be it. I was going to like game over. But no, I am happy with the way it's turned out. So as always, if you would like to leave a like, comment, or dislike, feel free to do so, and subscribe if you would like to see more of what is happening in the future. I'd also like to say thank you to all the new people that subbed and leaving comments and things. It's really much appreciated. I do like speaking to you guys, even though it does take me a while to get back to you, especially if I'm away. I was actually gone for a couple of days, but you guys didn't know because I managed to set up enough videos so that it covered my time of being away. I was on my way for 4 days. It was a sort of very short-lived trip. I basically got there and they were like, nah, we're not doing this. Job's cancelled. Go home. And I was like, okay. And by the time it took them to get me a flight back home, I could have got a flight the same day, but it would have been flying to 4 different cities in 4 different countries, which I was just having none of. So I stayed an extra couple of days to get a direct flight back to the UK. So that was all good. I may be away again soon, so I will try to rack up a few videos to sort of keep it going while I'm away. But I think this next trip might be a extremely long trip. I might be gone for a month or so, I've been told. So far that'll be happening in mid-November. But as always, it's been great, guys. I've been Danny Boy. It's been Transport Fever on the hopefully new improved USA map, and I will catch you later.